polling has begun in West Bengal for the crucial and sensitive Panchayat polls, being seen as a litmus test for the mega 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Now, since the 9th of June till the 7th of July, that's just in a month, 18 people have been killed in alleged political violence as a run-up to elections. Now, this includes a teenager. The Calcutta High Court has ordered the deployment of central paramilitary forces for these elections and even ordered them to stay for 10 days after the results are declared. To prevent any post-poll violence, Bengal has a history of violence during elections that's been rampant during the communist regime and continues till date. The state government claims it has been able to reduce the number of evidences as far as the incidences are concerned, and the media is using sporadic incidents to paint a false narrative. Earlier, the State Election Commission, which has come under the fire from the governor for allegedly not doing enough to stop the violence, had repositioned over the 800 companies of central forces for these elections. We have Saurabh Gupta joining us to get us more on this. Saurabh, voting amid concerns over violence.
That's right. In some areas, of course, there are those concerns, and those concerns are, of course, very, very serious given the fact that the Calcutta High Court has ordered the deployment of central paramilitary forces. But we are in a polling booth that's close to Calcutta. And here, of course, polling, you can see the kind of interest in polling in Bengal is, of course, an example of how electoral participation should be. And early morning, people, standing in the line in the sun with umbrellas. And that's the kind of polling percentage that Bengal also throws up in elections. A lot of people participate in the elections and vote. And that's perhaps the most important, because of all the debates we've seen in the run-up to the last few days, and all the arguments in court, this is perhaps what's required, that people come out and vote in a peaceful atmosphere. And right now, of course, we are in a booth that's in a place adjoining Kolkata, and this is, of course, Bamankata. But there are several sensitive areas also nearby, which we will be tracking, given the fact that there is, of course, a huge presence of central forces that have been deployed on the orders of the Calcutta High Court. And this, of course, is the kind of lines that you see. And this is important in the sense that this is on-ground participation in an electoral democracy, given the fact that panchayats often decide in the daily life, welfare schemes that governments have. For example, panchayats decide on, what kind of benefits in terms of, water connections, in terms of other benefits that are given at the rural level, housing schemes. All of these are often decided by Gram Panchayats. So in that context, participation in a Panchayat election is extremely, extremely important. It is, of course, at the very grassroots of our democracy. And that is why perhaps these are pictures that people want to see. People standing in line, in a queue to vote. This is, of course, the pictures that establish that at the end of the day, it's the people who decide who rules over them and come and vote. And that is, of course, important. You have your general elections for parliament, you have your Vidhan Sabha elections for the government of the state, but the panchayat is at the very grassroots level. And this is a three-tier panchayat system in West Bengal, where you have the Gram Panchayat seats, then you have the Panchayat Samiti seats, and then you have the Zilla Parishad seats. Now, we've been told that nearly, or at least over 236,000 nominations for these seats, over 5 crore eligible voters, and this, of course, is in terms of the numbers, around 63,000 Gram Panchayat seats, around 10,000 Panchayat Samiti seats, a little below 10,000 actually, and around 1,000 Zilla Parishad seats. So these are the seats that Panchayat voters will be voting for today. And you can see, of course, perhaps these are the images that people want to see, where people participate in a democracy, people vote in a democracy, people vote in a peaceful atmosphere. and of course the presence of security is very much there given what Bengal has seen in the last few days. There have been reports of at least 18 alleged poll-related violence deaths, but at this point one really hopes that with the security deployment that the polls will be peaceful, like the government has promised. In fact, the government has said that it wants a completely peaceful elections, and that's what one hopes will happen. But as you can see, lines here at this voting booth where people have gathered, come early in the morning. It's a hot day, but the umbrellas, of course, protecting them from the sun. And of course, people are voting here, gathered here in line to come and cast their vote for their choice of candidate at the very grassroots of democracy, at the panchayat level, where they decide on elected representatives who take decisions on the privileges, on the government schemes that the people benefit from.